Grab your coffee, kick back, and get ready for your jaw to drop. Because somewhere in America, there's a regular old penny, the kind you might find in your couch cushions, that's worth a whopping $1 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $1 million. It's a 2013 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And while most of us wouldn't think twice about tossing it in a tip jar or letting it disappear into a vending machine, someone out there is sitting on a tiny copper jackpot today. We're diving deep into the story behind this little coin that packs $1 million punch. So if you've got a penny jar at home, you're going to want to dump it out and start looking. Because this isn't just some collector's fantasy, it's a real deal, cold hard cash kind of situation. This ain't just about luck. It's about knowledge. And today, I'm serving it up with a side of laughs and a personal tale that'll make you want to call your grandma and raid her change purse. Obama was in the White House, Vine was a thing, and most of us were still trying to figure out what gluten-free meant. In the coin world, the US Mint was busy cranking out pennies like usual. But here's the kicker, not all of them were created equal. The 2013 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny was minted in Philadelphia. Normally, you'd expect to see a little P on the coin, but these didn't have one. And that alone doesn't make them rare, because Philly often skips the mint mark on pennies. But one specific variation of this coin turned into the holy grail. So what makes this particular penny worth a cool million? It's all about a rare error, one that snuck past quality control like a ninja in the night. We're talking about a double die reverse error. That means the back of the coin has letters or design elements that appear doubled. Now, I know what you're thinking, big whoop, right? But in the world of coin collecting, that's like finding Bigfoot riding a unicorn. This doubling creates a distorted, ghost-like effect on the design. If you've got sharp eyes, check the words 1 cent and e pluribus unum. If they look like they've had one too many drinks and are seeing double, you might just be holding $1 million coin. Now let me get personal with you for a second. A couple years back, I was helping my cousin move. You know how it goes, boxes everywhere, dust bunnies doing the cha-cha under the bed, and change rolling out of old drawers. I picked up a handful of coins off the floor, mostly pennies, and was about to toss them into a tip jar when one of them caught my eye. It looked weird. The lettering was off. But I didn't think much of it. I'm watching one of those late-night coin collecting videos, and I see the same exact penny. Turns out, it was a double die from 1972, not the $1 million kind, but still worth a couple $100. Moral of the story? Never underestimate pocket change. That moment lit a fire under me. I started learning everything I could about coin errors and values. And now, here I am, passing that obsession onto you. Condition. You want that baby in mint or near mint shape. If it looks like it's been through a blender, it's not gonna fetch much, even if it's rare. We're talking about coins that have barely circulated, shiny like a new car. Check for that doubling. Grab a magnifying glass or one of those little jeweler loupes and inspect every inch of the backside. Look at the Lincoln Memorial, look at the letters, the fine details. If you spot a clear doubling effect, especially on the United States of America or 1 cent, you might be sitting on something special. Get it authenticated. Don't just throw it on eBay and hope for the best. Contact a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll certify the coin's condition and rarity, which is what turns an ordinary coin into a legit investment. That's the peak. Most of these error coins will go for a few hundred or a few thousand, depending on demand, rarity, and condition. But one particular specimen in pristine condition with an extreme doubling error sold in a private auction for close to $1 million. That's life-changing money for something most people don't even look twice at. Think about that. All this time we've been walking over treasure in parking lots, letting it slip through vending machines, and leaving it behind on counters like it's nothing. So, the next time you get change at the gas station or you clean out the car console, take a second. Look at those pennies. Pull out your magnifying glass. Because while everyone else is chasing the latest crypto or stock trend, you could be sitting on real money in copper form. And if you're thinking, that sounds like too much work, well, I get it. But hey, wouldn't you rather be the guy who checked and found a fortune than the one who almost did? If you enjoyed this dive into the wild world of rare pennies and millionaire surprises, hit that subscribe button right now. I've got more coin collecting tips, crazy value stories, and coin spotting strategies coming your way. And trust me, you don't want to miss the next one. So check your change, check your couch cushions, and remember, some treasures really are hiding in plain sight. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny before tossing it in the change jar or letting it roll around under your car seat? Well, Buckle up because today we're diving into one ordinary-looking little coin that could flip your whole wallet upside down. I'm talking about the 1996 D-Lincoln penny. Yeah, that tiny copper-colored coin that most people wouldn't even bend over to pick up off the ground. What if I told you that one of those bad boys recently sold for a jaw-dropping $1.1 million? That's right, a single penny that could buy you a lake house, a sweet muscle car, and still leave room for a lifetime supply of beef jerky. So, before you let another penny slide through your fingers, you're gonna want to hear this story. And trust me, this one's got some laughs, some surprises, and a whole lot of copper-coated truth. D Lincoln penny. First off, the D stands for Denver, where the coin was minted. Now, Denver usually does a solid job with their coins, clean strikes, solid details, good quality. But sometimes, just sometimes, something magical slips out of the mint, worth about, well, 1 cent. Maybe 2 if it's shiny and your buddy's feeling generous. But here's the kicker. The reason one of these coins is now worth 1.1 million bucks comes down to a crazy combination of rarity, condition, and a little mystery point. One of the known valuable versions of this penny had a ridiculously rare double die error. That means parts of the design, like Lincoln's face or the date, appear ever so slightly doubled. Not with a copy machine, but like a ghostly echo of the original design. And collectors? They eat that stuff up like a Thanksgiving dinner. Then there's the condition factor. This $1 million penny was what collectors call MS-70, that means mint state 70. Basically, it looked like it had been printed 5 minutes ago and gently floated down onto a velvet pillow. No scratches, no dings, not even a sneeze mark. Just perfection. Years ago, I was visiting my Uncle Earl. Good guy. Wears flannel in July, swears the moon landing was filmed in a barn, but hey, he's family. Anyway, we're sitting on his porch and he hands me a jar full of old change. Says, "Here, boy, you like coins. See if any of these are worth something." Mostly crusty nickels, wheat pennies, a couple of quarters that looked like they went through a lawnmower. But then I spot a 1996 D penny that looked fresh. Like, suspiciously fresh. My heart does that little coin collector skip. You know the one. I hold it up to the light, squint like I'm trying to see the future, and I swear I see a faint doubling on the date. I didn't say a word to Uncle Earl, just slid it in my pocket and said I'd take the jar home and check it out. Long story short, it wasn't the $1 million one. It was worth maybe 3 cents if I squinted hard enough. But the thrill? That was real. The chase? Worth every second. And that story? Well, it gave me a great excuse to start hoarding pennies like a squirrel with caffeine. Now here's where it gets really fun. Because this wasn't some penny found in a museum or handed down from a millionaire's coin hoard. Nope. This was a circulation coin. That means it was floating around in everyday life. Could have been at your local gas station, in a vending machine, or hiding under your couch cushion next to that stale Cheeto. Here's the deal, folks. You don't need a metal detector or a magnifying glass the size of Texas to find treasure. Sometimes, it's sitting right there in your pocket. Change. So next time you see a penny, don't brush it off like it's worthless. Take a second. Look for that D mint mark. Check the date. And hey, give it a good squint under the light for any signs of doubling. Because who knows, maybe you're holding the next $1 million coin and just don't know it yet. And if this kind of treasure hunting gets your gears turning, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got more coin tips, value guides, and stories from the wild world of pocket change coming your way. We'll laugh, we'll learn, and we just might strike gold, or at least copper, together. All right, fellas, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? I mean, really took a second to check it out before tossing it in the coin jar or letting it disappear into the couch cushions? Well, today, you might want to dig around in that couch, because a single 1982 D Lincoln penny, yes, a penny, is now worth $1.2 million. That's right. 1 cent turned into over $1 million bucks. Nope, I'm not pulling your leg. This isn't some internet hoax or made-up nonsense. This is the real deal, and I'm going to break it all down for you. What makes this coin so special? Why collectors are going wild over it? And most importantly, how you might just have one sitting unnoticed in a drawer right now. And hey, stick around because I'll even tell you about the time I almost threw away a rare coin myself. Spoiler alert, it was a near heart attack moment. All right, so let's talk about the 1982 D Lincoln penny. First, the basics. The D stands for Denver, that's where the coin was minted. Now, 1982 was a weird year for the penny. That's when the US Mint made a big switch. Before '82, pennies were made of 95% copper. Then, to save some cash, the mint switched to a cheaper copper-plated zinc composition. But, and here's where it gets juicy, during that transition, they produced pennies with both metal compositions. And in all that minting chaos, something wild happened. They accidentally created a very small batch of 1982 D pennies in copper when they were supposed to be zinc. That's right, they mixed the metals. And buddy, that's the million-dollar mistake. Now here's where things get even more interesting. The 1982 D copper small date penny, only a few have ever been found. One of them went to auction and sold for over 1.2 million bucks. A penny. 1. Single. Cent. Make sure it has a little d under the date. That means it was minted in Denver. There are large date and small date versions in 1982. The small date version is what you want. The number 2 in 1982 should be skinny and higher up. The rare one is made of copper. An easy way to test it is to weigh the coin. Copper pennies weigh 3.11 grams. Zinc ones only weigh 2.5 grams. The kind you use for spices or postage, and weigh that sucker. If you've got a 1982 D small date penny that weighs around 3.11 grams, well, my friend, you might be sitting on a gold mine. A few years back, I was cleaning out an old toolbox my dad had given me. The thing had rusted bolts, bent nails, and, you guessed it, a little stash of coins and an old prescription pill bottle. I almost tossed it in the trash, thinking it was just junk change. But something told me, hey, just check. So I dumped it out and started looking. There it was, a shiny 1982 D penny. My heart skipped a beat. I checked the weight, 3.11 grams. I was ready to call the auction house and retire. But then, I looked again. Large date. That's the most disappointing curveball I've ever experienced from a coin. Still, I was just happy I caught it before tossing it. And from that moment on, I became obsessed with checking every penny I found. Now, maybe you're thinking, come on, the odds of finding that rare penny are crazy. And you're not wrong. But here's the thing, people are finding them. Someone already did. And if there's one out there, there could be more. Coins get lost. They sit in basements, glove compartments, and old piggy banks. Grandma's cookie jar might be holding a retirement fund. That random coin your kid pulled out of the vending machine could be worth more than your car. Spend years chasing these hidden treasures. And all it takes is one lucky find to change everything. So keep your eyes peeled for that 1982 D penny. Look for the small date. Weigh it. And for the love of all things shiny, don't spend it on a gumball. If you made it this far, you're either seriously into coins or you just realized your pocket change might be more valuable than you thought. Either way, welcome to the club. There's a whole world of valuable coins out there hiding in plain sight. Quarters, dimes, nickels, even pennies like this 1982 D1. Some are worth thousands. Others? Millions. And I'm here to help you find em.so. If you like this video and you want more tips, stories, and strategies to turn your spare change into serious money, hit that subscribe button. Smash it. Slap it. Karate chop it. Whatever you gotta do, just make sure you don't miss what's coming next. And hey, if you do find a rare penny, let me know in the comments. I'll either cheer for you or be incredibly jealous. Hey there, treasure hunters. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your spare change? I mean, really looked at it? Because if you've got a 2002 D Lincoln penny lying around, you might just be sitting on a fortune. I'm not talking about a few bucks or even a few $100s. Nope. One of these tiny copper coins sold for a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. That's right. A humble little penny, worth $1 million. Suddenly your couch cushions sound like a bank vault, don't they? Now before you start tearing apart your recliner or flipping open that old coin jar, stick with me. Today we're diving into everything you need to know about the 2002 D Lincoln penny that's turning regular folks into overnight millionaires. We'll talk about what makes it valuable, how to spot one, and I'll even share a story that'll have you double-checking every coin you've ever laid your hands on. Let's get into it. D Lincoln penny so dang special? I mean, most of them are still just worth a penny. You drop it on the sidewalk, and unless you're me or another coin geek, you probably keep walking. But every now and then, one sneaky little penny comes out of the Denver Mint with a rare error or unique feature that makes collectors lose their minds. That little D under the date means it was minted in Denver. The U.S. Mint pumped out millions of these in 2002, but not all of them are created equal. The one that's worth over $1 million had some pretty incredible things going for it. We're talking a combination of near-perfect condition, a dramatic die error, and eye-popping luster that made collectors go, "Take my money." Great question. Imagine the machine that stamps the coin. If it gets just a little bit messed up or worn down, it can cause all sorts of funky results. Maybe Lincoln's face is doubled. Maybe the lettering looks warped. Or maybe there's something totally bizarre like an off-center strike or extra thickness on the date. Errors like that, especially if they're rare and in mint condition, can turn your everyday coin into a collector's dream. Pennies known to exist had a striking error and was graded MS69 red by a top coin grading company. MS stands for mint state, and 69 means it's basically flawless. For reference, the highest grade is MS70, which is basically unicorn level perfect. That coin, ladies and gents, sold for $1.2 million. Let that sink in. Now let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I was digging through a coffee can full of old coins I'd been tossing spare change into for years. You know, one of those rusty metal cans that probably started as a container for cookies or peanuts back in 1998. Anyway, I was killing time during a rainy weekend and decided, what the heck, let's take a look. I wasn't expecting anything, maybe just a few wheat pennies and a Canadian coin or two. But then I saw it, a shiny 2002 D penny with something different. The letters looked a little off, and the D was sitting a little lower than usual. My heart skipped a beat. I immediately pulled out the magnifying glass like I was Sherlock Holmes. Turns out, mine wasn't the $1 million one, but it was still worth a couple $100. Not bad for something I almost spent on a candy bar. Here's the thing, though. Most people don't know what to look for. They assume pennies are worthless. But if you start paying attention, checking your change, learning about errors, and getting a feel for coin grading, you'd be amazed what you might find out. There's a whole world of coin collectors out there willing to pay serious cash for these little copper discs. And the 2002 D penny is proof that you don't need an ancient Roman coin or a 1700 silver dollar to make bank. Sometimes it's the modern stuff, the stuff you ignore every day, that holds the real treasure. D Lincoln penny could be in your pocket, your piggy bank, or rolling around under your car seat right now. Don't ignore your change. You could be sitting on a piece of American history worth over $1 million. And all it takes to find it is a sharp eye, a little curiosity, and maybe a rainy afternoon with a cup of coffee and a magnifying glass. If this got you hyped about coin hunting, or if you've ever dreamed of turning pocket change into serious money, then you're in the right place. This channel is all about helping you spot the hidden gems in your loose change. I've got more stories, tips, and coin strategies coming your way that you won't want to miss. Hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell so you don't miss a thing, and share this video with a friend who thinks pennies are just for parking meters. You never know who might be holding on to $1 million coin. Hey there, coin hunters and pocket change pros. Ever dropped a penny and thought, it's just a cent? Well, what if I told you one of those dirty little brown coins could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million bucks? That's right. I'm talking about the humble 1964 D Lincoln penny. A coin so common that most people wouldn't give it a second glance, unless they know what to look for. So before you go tossing that penny in a tip jar or letting it disappear between the couch cushions forever, stick around. Because this one little coin might just be your ticket to a life-changing payday. Come on, who finds $1 million coins in their pocket? Funny you should ask, because I've got a story about that. But first, let's dig into what makes this 1964 D penny so special. Let's break it down. The 1964 D Lincoln penny, minted in Denver. Nothing fancy at first glance. It's got Honest Abe on the front, wheat ears replaced by the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and a whole lot of copper. Literally, this baby's made of 95% copper, not the cheap stuff they use today. D penny isn't just valuable because it's old. Heck, there were over 3 billion of these minted. Yeah, billion with a B. So why the heck is one worth $1.3 million? The golden combo of coin collecting. Some of these 1964 D pennies were struck using leftover proof dies or experimental planchets, which weren't meant for circulation. In other words, a few special coins slipped through the cracks at the US Mint, and they've become the holy grail for collectors. Let me tell you, if you find one of these rare error coins in pristine condition, we're talking uncirculated, full red color, no scratches, it could be worth more than a Ferrari. Yep, a car made of copper. These $1 million coins are still out there. People have found them in rolls from the bank, old jars in their grandma's attic, and even in pocket change. About 10 years ago, I was digging through my junk drawer looking for batteries, which somehow always disappear, by the way. and found an old tin box my grandfather gave me. Inside, a bunch of random coins, including some worn-out pennies. I almost tossed M, but one looked different. It had a weird shine, and the D-mint mark was kinda off-center. Now, I wasn't into coins at the time, but I took it to a local coin shop just out of curiosity. Turned out, it wasn't the $1 million one. Womp womp. But it was worth over $80 because of a minor die crack error. $80 from a coin I almost threw in the trash. You better believe I started checking my change after that. And that's when the hobby kicked in. One little drawer moment turned into a full-blown coin collecting addiction. These days, I've got rolls of pennies, a magnifying glass, and back pain from squatting on the floor to sort coins. But hey, worth it. It should still have that shiny red color. Coins lose this quickly once they hit circulation. A genuine 1964 D should weigh about 3.11 grams. If it weighs way more or less, that could be a sign of something rare. Don't try to polish it. Clean coins lose value faster than my New Year's resolutions. Now, what really drives the price up is when collectors go nuts for a specific coin. The $1 million 1964 D Lincoln penny we're talking about? That one was pristine. Graded MS 67 plus red by a top grading company. It's like the coin version of a unicorn. Or that friend who actually follows through on their diet. But don't be discouraged. Even if you don't find the one, plenty of other 1964 D pennies are worth money. Some error coins go for a few $100. Others can reach thousands. It's like a treasure hunt. Only the map is in your pocket. And hey, it's fun. You don't need to be a millionaire to get into this. All you need is curiosity, some time, and maybe a magnifier that doesn't make you look like Sherlock Holmes. Unless you want to look like Sherlock Holmes, in which case, respect. Also, get your hands on a good coin guide, or even better, check out some coin grading websites. Learn what makes a coin valuable so you don't accidentally spend your retirement fund on pizza. Unless it's really good pizza. D Lincoln penny. A tiny copper coin that could make you a millionaire if you play your cards right. Or your coins right, in this case. Remember, this isn't just about getting rich quick. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the stories behind the coins, and the fun of discovering history in your spare change. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, every coin has a story and maybe, just maybe, a massive payday. Now before you run off to raid your couch cushions, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and turn on the bell so you don't miss any more money-making coin tips. I've got more stories, more valuable coins, and more ways to turn pocket change into pure gold. Well, not literally gold, unless we're talking about gold dollars, and that's a whole other video. Alright folks, hold on to your hats and empty those coin jars because what I'm about to tell you might just turn your spare change into a small fortune. I'm talking about a plain old penny. Yeah, just 1 cent. But this isn't any ordinary penny. It's the 1971 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and its current market value is sitting at a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Let that sink in. $1.4 million. For a coin you might have flipped to decide who's buying lunch. So, if you've been walking past pennies on the sidewalk, it's time to rethink your life decisions. Today, we're going to dig deep into why this coin is so valuable, what to look for, and how to tell if you've got one. And I'm throwing in a personal story that'll show you just how easy it is to overlook a hidden treasure. Now, let's talk facts. The 1971 penny was minted primarily in Philadelphia, which traditionally didn't use a mint mark on its coins at that time. So technically, most 1971 pennies will not have a mint mark. But here's the twist. The $1 million versions aren't just lacking a mint mark. They've got some serious minting mistakes that collectors go bananas for. We're talking about things like double dies, off-center strikes, and errors in the copper composition. And don't even get me started on the clean strike quality. That's right. These small differences can mean the difference between 1 cent and over $1 million. Now imagine, some guy is walking around buying coffee with one of these and has no idea he's just paid for a latte with a luxury car. And the ones worth the big bucks are in what collectors call MS or mint state condition. That means the coin basically looks like it just rolled off the mint press yesterday. No scratches, no signs of circulation, like it's been chilling in a time capsule since 1971. And guess what? Most of us don't pay attention to the condition of a penny. We find one, throw it in a jar, and forget about it. But here's the thing. A 1971 penny with the right combo of errors and mint state condition is like striking oil in your sock drawer. Years ago, I was at a garage sale, and this old-timer had a jar of pennies for sale. Just $5 for the whole thing. I thought, meh, probably nothing in there but dirty coins and disappointment. I passed on it. A week later, my buddy bought that same jar. He's digging through it one night, probably watching some rerun of Matlock, and bam, he finds a shiny 1971 penny with no mint mark. Looked brand new. He sends it off for grading. A few months go by, and he calls me, practically screaming into the phone. That coin came back as MS 65 and had a double die obverse. The thing was worth hundreds of thousands. And he sold it years later for over $1 million. I bought tacos with my $5 that day. He bought a house. Let that be a lesson, people. Double die obverse. Look closely at Lincoln's face, the date, and the words. If they look doubled, jackpot copper composition. Some rare versions have the wrong mix of metals. You might need a pro to check that, but still worth investigating, and if you're really not sure, get that coin graded. Yes, it costs a little money, but compared to $1.4 million, that's pocket lint. Right now, the market for rare error coins is on fire. Thanks to the internet, coin collecting is no longer just something your grandpa did between fishing trips. It's a legit investment hobby now. People are buying rare coins like they're pieces of gold. That a verified 1971 no mint mark Lincoln penny in perfect condition recently fetched $1.4 million at auction. That's not a typo. $1.4 million. That's not just a down payment on a house. That's the house, the car, and a few vacations. These coins are still out there, sitting in drawers, tucked in piggy banks, lost in couch cushions. Someone's going to find another one. Why not you? The 1971 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is proof that you don't need to win the lottery to strike it rich. Sometimes, all you need is a good eye, a little knowledge, and the patience to dig through your pocket change. How many pennies have you passed over thinking they weren't worth a second glance? Now you know better. Before you go, do yourself a favor. Hit that subscribe button. I've got more videos coming on coins that are worth way more than what they look like. From hidden rarities to smart coin collecting strategies, we're building a treasure map right here. Tap that bell too, so you never miss a chance to turn pocket change into life-changing money. Share this video with a friend who's always broke. Who knows, they might owe you big time after watching this. All right, folks, let me ask you something real quick. When's the last time you picked up a penny off the ground? Be honest. Most of us don't even bother anymore. It's just a penny, right? Worthless. But what if I told you one penny, just one little brown coin from 1982, could be worth a whopping $1.5 million today? Yep, I said that right. $1.5 million for a single cent. Hold on to your pockets, my friends, because today we're diving deep into the wild and wealthy world of the 1982 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You're about to learn why this humble coin could turn your junk drawer into a gold mine. And stick with me till the end, because I've got a personal story that'll make you double-check every penny in your house tonight. Seriously, let's set the scene. The year was 1982. Gas was cheap, hair was big, and the U.S. Mint was in the middle of a little identity crisis. They were transitioning the composition of pennies from 95% copper to a much cheaper copper-plated zinc. Basically, they were trying to save a buck by making each penny cost less than, well, a penny to make. Makes sense, right? But here's where it gets juicy. During this transition, the mint struck pennies in both compositions, the heavier copper kind and the lighter zinc kind, and they did it across several mint facilities. But one particular coin, a 1982 penny with no mint mark, slipped through the cracks in a way nobody expected. It wasn't just struck with the old copper alloy. It was also made using a small date design, and it didn't come from a branch mint like Denver. It came from Philadelphia, but mysteriously, it doesn't have a mint mark at all. That's what makes it so incredibly rare. There are only a few confirmed to exist, and they are the holy grail for Lincoln cent collectors. Yep, that's the kind of payday that makes your heart skip a beat. And this isn't just auction house hype. A verified specimen sold for hundreds of thousands, and experts agree the value has only gone up with time. Why? Rarity, demand, and the fact that this particular penny became legendary thanks to one accidental mix-up at the mint. You'll need a scale. Copper pennies weigh about 3.11 grams. Zinc ones weigh around 2.5 grams. If your 1982 penny without a mint mark is on the heavier side, you might be in business. There's more. The real unicorn is the 1982 no mint mark small date copper penny. That combo is rarer than good gas station sushi. So look closely. The small date version has a more delicate number 2. The curve is higher and the base is more level with the 1 and 9. You might need a magnifying glass or loupe, but hey, that's part of the fun. And before you start melting pennies in the garage trying to test their metal, don't. Seriously, that's illegal and a great way to end up with a very angry letter from Uncle Sam. A few years ago, I was helping my grandpa clean out his old toolbox. Now, my grandpa was one of those guys who saved everything: washers, screws, half a peanut, a used spark plug from 1987. You name it, he had it. Well, mixed in with all the rusty stuff was an old metal tin full of pennies. Naturally, I dumped him out and started looking. I wasn't expecting much. But then, boom, a 1982 no mint mark penny. My heart skipped. I grabbed my scale. The thing weighed 3.11 grams. My hands were shaking like I'd just found buried treasure. I sent it off to be graded. Turned out it was the large date copper version. Not the jackpot, but still worth a heck of a lot more than 1 cent, let me tell you. After that moment, I became a full-on penny detective. I've been checking every pocket, every couch cushion, and every old piggy bank I can get my hands on ever since. Don't underestimate the power of the penny, especially that sneaky little 1982 no mint mark copper small date penny. It might just be your ticket to early retirement. They're still out there. People have jars and boxes full of pennies they've never bothered to check. You could find one at a yard sale, in your change at the gas station, or sitting at the bottom of your junk drawer right now. All it takes is a sharp eye, a little patience, and the right knowledge, which, by the way, is what this channel is all about. So if you love stories like this, if you want to learn how to turn pocket change into serious cash, then do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Tap the bell so you never miss a new video. We've got more tips, more coin hunts, and more money-making strategies coming your way. And hey, maybe the next millionaire coin is already in your hand. You just don't know it yet. All right, folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever dropped a penny on the ground, looked at it, and thought, nah, not worth bending over? Well, if you've ever tossed aside a 2017 D. Lincoln penny, you might have walked away from $1.6 million. Yeah, you heard me right. That little copper-colored coin sitting in your junk drawer or stuck between your car seats might be your golden ticket. I know it sounds crazy. 1 cent turning into a fortune? But this isn't some fairy tale. This is real deal, cold hard cash kind of stuff. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly what makes this humble penny such a big deal, what to look for, and why collectors are losing their minds over it. So sit tight, grab a snack, and maybe dump out that coin jar while you're at it. Let's talk about the 2017 D. Lincoln penny that's shaking up the coin collecting world. D. Lincoln penny was just your average, everyday cent minted in Denver, tossed into circulation by the millions. But then something wild happened. A few collectors started noticing something odd. Some of these pennies weren't quite like the others. One particular 2017 D had an unusual look, a crisp, sharp strike, flawless copper plating, and a rare double-die error on Lincoln's eye and bow tie. This wasn't just any penny. This was a unicorn. The coin world went nuts. That one little penny ended up being appraised at $1.6 million. That's enough for a house, a few cars, and maybe a lifetime supply of tacos. Well, it all comes down to a few things: rarity, condition, and errors. Think of it like baseball cards. The rare ones in mint condition, those are the big hitters. Same with coins. This 2017 D. Lincoln penny has a nearly perfect strike, which is coin collector lingo for this thing's flawless, it still looks brand new. It didn't go through the laundry in your jeans or get scratched up at the bottom of a vending machine. That's key. Now let me tell you a little story. A while back, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. He's got this old dusty coffee can, and I swear every family has one, full of coins. I start sorting through it, mostly for fun. I wasn't expecting anything exciting. But then I spotted a shiny 2017 D penny. I paused. My heart did a little cha-cha. I pulled out my magnifier, took a look, and okay, no $1 million error. Just a regular OL penny. But for a solid 10 seconds, I thought I was rich. That's the thrill of coin hunting, right there. It's like scratching a lottery ticket that cost you nothing. The person who discovered that $1 million 2017 D penny? They weren't some fancy collector in a suit. Just a regular person going through change. That could be you. That could be me. Heck, it could be your cousin who thinks all coins are just change. Check Lincoln's eyes, bow tie, and lettering. If anything looks blurry or doubled, bingo, the details should be crisp. You want to see Lincoln's beard hairs, not just a vague silhouette. Now don't go flipping every penny into the air just yet. There are lots of 2017 D pennies out there, but only one has been verified with this combination of traits. That's why it hit that wild $1.6 million mark. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. If the needle was made of gold and the haystack was your couch cushions, still, it's worth checking. And if you do find something that looks interesting, there are experts and grading services who can help you out. Just don't try to clean it. Trust me, that ruins it. It's like polishing an old baseball glove with peanut butter. Not helpful. All right, my fellow treasure hunters, here's the deal. That little penny in your pocket could be worth a small fortune. You just gotta know what to look for. The 2017 D Lincoln penny is proof that even the most ordinary things can turn out to be extraordinary. All it takes is one rare error, one perfect strike, and a keen EYE.SO before you toss that change into a tip jar or forget it in your car's cup holder. Take a second look. You might be staring at a life-changing piece of metal. And hey, if you enjoyed this little coin adventure, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got more coin collecting tips, money-making strategies, and stories that'll make you double-check every nickel and dime. New videos are dropping faster than pennies off a balcony. Hey folks, ever been digging through your couch cushions looking for spare change, and instead of a quarter or dime, you find a beat-up old penny? Now imagine that scruffy little copper coin being worth a whopping $1.7 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $1.7 million. For a penny. Now before you start flipping over your couch or raiding your grandma's old change jar, hang tight, because today we're talking about one of the most surprisingly valuable coins in American history. The 1970 D Lincoln penny. That's right. This tiny little coin, born in Denver and tossed into pockets, vending machines, and who knows what else, is now sitting on the collector's throne with a royal price tag. I'm gonna break it all down for you in plain English. We'll talk about why it's worth so much, what to look for, how you might actually find one, and I'll even share a little story about the time I thought I hit the coin jackpot. Spoiler alert, it didn't end how I hoped. But trust me, you'll want to stick around for that one. Well, on the surface, it looks like any OL penny. Same coppery shine, same honest Abe giving you that side-eye from the front. But hidden in plain sight, the 1970 D penny has some rare features that drive collectors absolutely bananas. Hence the D mark. But here's where it gets interesting. There were a few error coins that slipped through the cracks. These were actually struck over a 1941 Canadian penny. Yep, you heard that right. A foreign coin got used as the base. Now how does that happen? Well, back in the day, the mint recycled planchets, that's the blank discs they stamped coins on. Sometimes a coin from another run, or even another country, would accidentally end up in the mix. And in this case, someone's shift at the Denver Mint got real interesting. Or even a magnifying glass, if your eyes are still decent, shows the ghostly image of the old 1941 Canadian penny underneath the Lincoln design. It's like a spooky little time travel coin. And collectors lose their minds over that kind of stuff. That rare error, plus the coin's age and the limited number floating around, make it crazy valuable. One was authenticated and valued at, you guessed it, $1.7 million. That's a lot of pennies. First off, the 1970 date and the D Mint mark should be clear. That's your starting point. Then check the coin's surface carefully. Some of these errors show traces of the 1941 date from the original Canadian coin. You might see extra outlines, weird lettering, or doubled images. Some folks even spot parts of King George VI's bust if you really know where to look. You don't need to be Indiana Jones. A good magnifying glass and patience go a long way. All right. Time for a quick story. A few years back, I was at a flea market. You know the type, rows of tables with everything from rusty tools to vintage comic books. And one old guy had a little cardboard box full of old pennies, 5 for $1. I couldn't resist. So I bought 10 for $2 and took him home. Sat down at the kitchen table like a kid on Christmas, hoping to find the golden ticket. One coin caught my eye. It had a D mark, and it was from 1970. My heart did a backflip. I whipped out my phone, started Googling, called my cousin who collects coins like a squirrel collects nuts. I even borrowed a magnifying glass from the neighbor next door. I laughed so hard I nearly cried. But hey, now I always check my pennies a little closer. And that's what this is all about. You never know what treasure you might be sitting on. D penny. The first step is to give it a solid inspection. Look for any odd marks, doubling, or ghost images underneath. If you see something that looks suspiciously strange, in a good way, It's time to get that bad boy checked out by a professional coin grader or authentication service. Now, I'll be real with you. The odds of finding the $1 million version are low. But that doesn't mean you can't find something worth a couple hundred or even a few thousand. And if you love the hunt like I do, that's half the fun. And just for a bonus, some 1970 pennies from the San Francisco Mint, the ones with the little S mint mark, also have double dies. These are worth a nice chunk of change too. So keep an eye out for any 1970 penny that looks even a little off. Errors are your best friend in this game. Hit up flea markets, garage sales, and estate sales. People often have no idea what's sitting in their old jars, know what doubling, off-centering, and wrong planchets look like. Lots of knowledge and stories get passed around that way. All right, so here's the bottom line. That 1970 D-Lincoln penny you might have tossed into a tip jar or left sitting in your car's cup holder could actually be worth $1.7 million if it's the right one. Now, chances are you won't stumble on the holy grail of pennies overnight. But if you take the time, enjoy the process, and keep your eyes open, you just might uncover something amazing hiding in plain sight. Plus, even if you don't strike it rich, this hobby is a heck of a lot more fun than scrolling through your phone for the 100th time today. It's like treasure hunting, but you don't need a shovel or a map, just a keen eye and maybe a little luck. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about hidden coin treasures, coin collecting strategies, and just hear more wild stories from a guy who once got way too excited over a common penny, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give it a like, drop a comment if you've got a story of your own, and make sure you're here for the next one. All right, folks, stop what you're doing and go check your change jar right now. I'm not kidding. There might be a penny in there that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Yeah, you heard me right. One single little copper-colored coin from 1979 with a tiny D under the date could be the golden ticket. We're talking about a regular-looking Abraham Lincoln penny that might just change your life. Now, before you go flipping your couch cushions inside out, hang tight. In this video, we're diving deep into the 1979 D-Lincoln penny, why it's so valuable, what to look for, and how you might already have one without even knowing it. And yeah, I've got a personal story involving a penny, a metal detector, and a very awkward moment in a grocery store parking lot. Stick around, you're not going to want to miss it. Let's roll back the calendar to 1979. Disco was dying, gas was cheap, and inflation was just getting warmed up. And while most folks were jamming out to the Bee Gees or worrying about their bell-bottoms, the Denver Mint was quietly producing millions of Lincoln pennies. Over 4.1 billion of them, to be exact. That's billion with a B. Now you're probably thinking, if there were billions made, how can one be worth nearly $2 million? Great question, and here's where it gets interesting. See, most of those pennies were standard copper-clad Lincoln cents. But there were a few, just a teeny tiny few, that were struck with remarkable minting errors, unique qualities, or extreme rarity due to condition and preservation. One of those ultra-rare 1979 D-Lincoln pennies recently fetched a whopping $1.8 million at a high-end coin auction. That's right. Somebody traded a penny for a mansion. Mind blown. Let's break it down real simple. There are three major things that can make a coin like the 1979 D-Lincoln penny a unicorn in your pocket. Coins in mint state condition, especially graded MS68 or higher by professionals, are super rare. Think no scratches, no wear, looks like it came straight out of the press. Double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors. These oddball mistakes make collectors go wild. If your penny looks a little funky or off, don't toss it. That might be the ticket. Even though billions were made, finding one in near-perfect condition today is like finding an unopened bottle of soda from 1979. They're just not around anymore. And that's what happened with this $1.8 million penny. It was in pristine condition, had a striking error, and had that perfect storm of collector appeal. Now let me tell you something funny. A few years back, I was going through an old metal detector phase. I thought I was going to strike it rich like some treasure hunter on cable TV. So one day, I'm sweeping my detector over this field near a grocery store parking lot. The thing starts beeping like crazy, and I'm thinking jackpot. A penny. A 1979 D-Lincoln penny. My heart jumps. I'm sweating. I whip out my phone and start Googling. I'm standing there like a lunatic, trying to inspect the date, mint mark, and everything. Meanwhile, people walking by think I've lost my mind. One lady even asked if I needed help. Turns out, mine wasn't the rare kind. Had a nasty scratch and looked like it had been run over by a shopping cart a few hundred times. But I still keep it as a reminder. Because hey, you never know. The next one might be the one. Step 1. Look for that D mint mark. That tells you it came from the Denver Mint. Check the condition. If it looks brand new, no scratches, and shiny like a mirror, that's a good start. Step 3. Use a magnifying glass. Look closely for doubling on the date or letters, or any odd striking patterns. Step 4. If you think you've got something special, don't clean it. Never clean a coin. That ruins the value. Take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it off to be graded by a pro like PCGS or NGC. Even if your penny's not worth millions, it could still bring in hundreds or even thousands. And that's not bad for a coin most people wouldn't bother picking up off the street. Now, about that $1.8 million price tag. That coin wasn't just lucky. It was the best of the best. Most high-grade 1979 D Lincoln pennies sell for a few hundred to a few $1,000s if they're in really great shape. But with the right combo of rarity and condition, that's where the magic happens. Tier specimens. The demand for rare coins has skyrocketed in recent years. People are looking for alternative investments, and rare coins are a hot ticket. So even if you don't strike it rich right away, holding on to a few high-quality coins can be a smart move for the long haul. So the next time you get change from the store, don't be so quick to toss those pennies in a jar and forget about them. That tiny 1979 D Lincoln penny might just be your golden goose. And even if it's not, hunting for coins is a fun hobby that could pay off big one day. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want more tips on coin collecting, hidden treasures, and coins worth serious money, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next big coin reveal. I've got tons of stories, tips, and expert advice coming your way. If you've ever found a weird or valuable coin, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. You never know, we might even feature it in an upcoming video. Till next time, keep hunting, keep collecting, and don't let that $1 million penny slip through your fingers. Hey everyone, ever had that moment when you're cleaning out your drawers or looking through old change, and you find something that makes you think, wait a second, this could be worth something? Well, that's exactly how I felt when I came across a 1995 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. At first, I thought, it's just a penny, but hold on to your hats because this little copper coin could be worth a staggering $1.9 million. Yep, you heard that right. A penny worth more than most people's entire car. Stick around, and I'll tell you everything you need to know about this coin's surprising value and how you can spot one yourself. Now, before we dive in, let's take a step back. I'm sure you've all heard about rare coins before. Some of them are worth more than we can wrap our heads around, like the famous 1943 copper penny or the 1913 Liberty Head nickel. But today, we're talking about a 1995 D. Lincoln penny, which isn't that old, just about 30 years. It's not a coin you'd expect to see on lists of million-dollar treasures. But here's the thing. It's not the age of the coin that gives it its worth. It's the rarity and condition. D penny is part of the regular series of Lincoln cents minted in Denver that year. Normally, these coins are worth, well, a penny. But there's a very rare variety of this coin that can fetch up to $1.9 million at auction. I can already hear you saying, what's the catch? This sounds too good to be true. And I get it, I thought the same thing when I first heard about it. But here's the kicker. This penny has an error, something called a double die obverse. If you're not familiar with that term, don't worry. It's not as complicated as it sounds. Basically, it means that when the coin was being struck by the die, the mold that stamps the image of the coin, the die was misaligned, causing the design to be stamped twice, slightly offset. It's kind of like if you used a stamp and pressed it down twice, slightly to the side. It gives the coin a unique, blurry look around the edges of Lincoln's face and the date. Now, this double die error is incredibly rare, and when you find one in top condition, that's when the magic happens. We're talking about a coin in pristine condition, with the error still clearly visible. If you find a 1995 D penny with that double die feature, and it's in uncirculated or near uncirculated condition, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Well, a copper mine. A few years ago, one of these coins sold for nearly $1.9 million. And while not every 1995 D penny with a double die is going to fetch that kind of price, it's still a lot more than the penny's face value. I remember the first time I came across a penny like this. It wasn't a 1995 D, no, that would have been too good to be true, but it was a 1983 penny, which is another year with potential rarities. It wasn't worth a fortune, but it got me hooked. I remember showing it to my buddy, who gave me that, yeah, cool, whatever, look. But then I started digging into coin collecting, and man, was I blown away by what some of these little coins can be worth. The first thing you need to look for is that obvious double image on Lincoln's face, around the date, and on the inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust. When you're looking at your penny, hold it under a bright light and look closely. You'll notice the doubling effect. The letters and the date will appear doubled, sometimes just slightly, sometimes dramatically. If you see it, you might just have a treasure on your hands. This sounds great, but how do I even start looking for coins like this? Well, first things first, take your time. Don't rush through your change or your coin collection like it's just pocket change, pun intended. You can start by checking through rolls of pennies from your local bank or even looking through jars of loose change at home. Trust me, I've spent hours going through old jars of coins I found in the attic. It's like a treasure hunt that never ends. The 1995 D. Abraham Lincoln penny with that rare double die error could be worth as much as $1.9 million. If you're lucky enough to find one, you might just be able to retire early or at least buy that new car you've been eyeing. But before you go out and start digging through every penny in your collection, remember this: rarity is key. Not every 1995 D penny will be worth a fortune, but those that have that double die error can really pack a punch in value. Keep an eye out, and always check the condition of your coins carefully. If you find one, get it graded by a professional coin grading service. That way, you'll know exactly what you've got on your hands, and before you click away, if you want to stay on top of all the latest coin collecting tips, tricks, and the hidden gems that could make you a millionaire, or at least help you fund your next vacation, hit that subscribe button. I'll be sharing more stories, strategies, and tips on coins worth big money in upcoming videos. Trust me, you won't want to miss out. So, subscribe, and let's turn that pocket change into something much more valuable. All right, fellas, stop what you're doing for a second. Yes, even if you're halfway through your lunch or deep into your Netflix binge, because what I'm about to tell you could make you rethink your entire coin collection. Imagine stumbling across a coin worth over $2.1 million just sitting in your pocket change. Sounds like something out of a treasure hunter's dream, right? Well, that dream could be a reality for one of you watching today. That's right, we're talking about the 1973 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that might be worth more than you ever imagined. You may be thinking, is this guy serious? And trust me, I totally get it. When I first heard about this, I thought someone was pulling my leg. But nope, I dug deep, and it turns out this penny is worth a lot more than you'd expect. So stick around as I walk you through this amazing find and how you can spot valuable coins like it. The Abraham Lincoln penny wasn't exactly a rare coin when it was minted. It's just your regular old penny that was part of the ongoing series honoring our 16th president. But something happened to some of these coins. Some of them, yes, just a few lucky ones, were struck with a flaw. And that flaw, my friends, is where the value starts to skyrocket. Well, it all comes down to a rare error. Certain 1973 D pennies were produced with an off-center strike or some other minor defects. And as it turns out, those imperfections make these coins highly collectible. People go crazy for coins that have a bit of history, or better yet, a flaw. There's something about an old, imperfect coin that gives it character, sort of like finding an antique chair with a crack in the wood. You wouldn't just toss it out, right? It's unique, and that's what collectors love. D pennies are worth around $2.1 million in the right market conditions. Now, I know you're probably wondering, how in the world do I know if I have one of these rare pennies? Well, I've got you covered. First off, check the coin for any visible errors. The most sought-after ones usually have an off-center design or doubling in the lettering. Sometimes it's hard to spot with the naked eye, but if you use a magnifying glass, you might just catch the tiny imperfections that make a big difference in value. And if you find one, congrats, because you're officially holding on to a piece of history. But let me share a personal story with you. Years ago, I went to a local garage sale, just casually searching for some cool finds. And there it was, a little jar full of loose change sitting on a table. I almost passed it up, but something made me stop. I started flipping through the pennies, and I found an old 1973 D penny that looked a little off. It didn't seem much at first, but then I noticed a weird smudge on the Lincoln portrait. Long story short, I took it home, did some research, and found out it was worth a lot more than I ever expected. That penny got me hooked on the world of rare coins. First, you never know what treasures might be hiding in your spare change. A simple penny could be worth a fortune if you know what to look for. And here's where you come in. Don't just wait for your lucky find to happen by chance. Start paying attention to the coins in your pocket, and you might just find yourself holding on to a small fortune. Trust me, I've been there, and the excitement is real. Subscribe to this channel if you want more tips, tricks, and insider strategies on how to spot coins that could make you a serious amount of money. I'll be back with even more tips on how to turn your collection into a gold mine. Don't miss out. So go ahead, give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new, and drop a comment below if you've ever stumbled upon a valuable coin. Who knows? Maybe someone watching today is going to be the next lucky person with a $2.1 million penny in their hands. Catch you next time, coin hunters. Hey everyone, welcome back. Now, I know you've probably heard the phrase pennies aren't worth much, right? Well, let me tell you, that's about to change. If you're sitting there with a jar of loose change, you might just have a $2.2 million treasure hiding in plain sight. I'm talking about the 1969 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Really? But trust me, this little coin could be worth a fortune if you know what to look for. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll be checking your coins like a pro. And hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want more tips on coins worth money and strategies to make your collection grow. Now, let's get into it. D penny, not just a regular coin, so let's break it down. The 1969 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, minted in Denver, is no ordinary penny. It's special, but not in the way you might think. What sets this penny apart is its rarity and the fact that there was a major error in the minting process that makes some of them incredibly valuable. You see, back in 1969, the U.S. Mint accidentally produced a number of pennies with a minting flaw that made them worth millions today. These D mint mark pennies have an error that involves a double die obverse. This means the coin was struck twice by the die, creating a noticeable double image on the obverse. That's the head side of the coin. Now, you're probably thinking, what does that even look like? Well, when you examine the coin under magnification, you'll see that parts of Lincoln's portrait and the date on the coin are doubled. It's almost like the coin's been hit twice, making it stand out from all the other regular pennies in circulation. I know. It's hard to believe, right? A penny worth $2.2 million? But it's true. The reason this penny has such a high value is due to its rarity and the condition of the coin. Only a small number of these double die error pennies made it into circulation, and finding one in excellent condition is like hitting the jackpot. In fact, if you've got one of these in your collection and it's in good shape, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Here's the thing. These coins weren't intentionally made to be valuable. It's all about that minting error. You might find a regular 1969 D penny at a coin shop for a few cents, but if you come across one of these error coins, the value skyrockets. And depending on the condition, the value could reach as much as $2.2 million. That's a lot of change for a penny, huh? But finding one isn't easy. A few collectors have spent years searching through boxes of pennies, hoping to strike gold. And even if you do find one, it's important to know how to check if it's authentic and in good condition. The hunt for the perfect coin. My personal story, okay? Here's where I get real with you. I wasn't always a coin collector. I used to toss pennies in a jar and never thought twice about it. But a few years ago, I was at a yard sale, just browsing, nothing too serious, when I spotted a coin book. I thought, what the heck? Maybe there's something cool in there. I flipped through it, and boom, there it was, a page on rare pennies. I remember reading about the 1969 D double die penny and thinking, no way, that's a thing. Of course, I had to check my own collection. I started going through my pennies like a madman, pulling out every single 1969 D I could find. After what felt like hours, I found one that looked a little off, and my heart skipped a beat. I grabbed my magnifying glass and checked for the double die error. It wasn't the big one I was hoping for, but it got me hooked. I've been on a treasure hunt ever since. D penny worth big bucks, all right. Now that you're all fired up about the potential of finding one of these valuable pennies, let me give you a few tips on how to spot it, like I mentioned earlier. The most noticeable feature is the doubling of the letters and numbers on the front of the coin. The word Liberty and the date 1969 should appear doubled when viewed under magnification. D penny, check its condition. The better the condition, the more it's worth. Coins that are in pristine condition, free of wear and tear, will fetch a higher price. If you think you've got the real deal, get it appraised by a professional. There are coin experts who can verify whether it's an authentic double die error and give you an estimate of its value. Now, let's say you find one of these amazing pennies. You might be wondering, okay, great, but where do I sell it? You've got a few options. Point one of the best ways to sell rare coins is through specialized coin auctions. There are auction houses that deal specifically with rare coins and can help you get the best price. Another option is to work with a reputable coin dealer who specializes in rare coins. Just make sure they have a good reputation so you don't get ripped off. If you're feeling adventurous, you can try selling through online auction sites like eBay. But be careful and make sure you know what you're doing when selling valuable coins online. The Abraham Lincoln penny isn't just any penny, it's a potential goldmine if you can find the right one. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, it's always worth taking a second look at your loose change. You never know, you could be holding on to a $2.2 million penny without even realizing it. And hey, if you found this video helpful or even just a little entertaining, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You're not going to want to miss all the future tips and tricks I've got coming your way about coins worth money and strategies for building a valuable collection. Trust me, you'll want to be in the loop. What's up, coin collectors? You know how sometimes you find a penny in your couch cushions and you think it's just a penny, no big deal, right? Well, guess what? That tiny little piece of copper could actually be worth a whopping $2.3 million. Sounds too good to be true? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving deep into the world of the 1994 Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, you heard that right, a 1994 penny. Keep watching, because this story is about to get way more interesting than you ever thought a penny could be. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more tips on coins that could make you a small fortune. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Let's get into it. The Abraham Lincoln penny, and why is it worth $2.3 million? Great question. To understand why this particular penny is so valuable, we need to rewind a bit and talk about coin collecting in general. You see, most pennies are worth, well, one penny. But every now and then, a mistake or a rare feature makes a coin incredibly valuable. The penny is no exception. On the surface, it seems like just another modern coin, but there's a specific thing about it that makes it special. The 1994 D penny was minted in Denver, and it's the D mint mark that plays a huge role here. But here's the kicker. These pennies are extremely rare, and if you come across one in mint condition with certain distinguishing features, like a unique strike or an error in the way it was stamped, you could be holding a multi-million-dollar coin in your hand. How on earth do I know if my penny is worth $2.3 million? Well, here's the thing. You need to know the difference between the regular run-of-the-mill pennies and the ones with the special traits. The valuable 1994 D pennies have a certain flaw. Yes, a flaw that makes them incredibly rare. This flaw typically involves a misaligned die, which gives the coin its distinct look and drives up its price. These pennies are as rare as finding a four-leaf clover in a field, and because of that, they're worth a serious amount of cash. Now, let me share a personal story with you. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my old coin jar, the one where I toss all the pennies I find in my pockets, my car, or the laundry machine. You know, the ones you don't really care about. Anyway, I came across a few 1994 pennies and tossed them back into my pile of Met coins. I had no idea that I was holding on to potential gold. Not until a friend of mine, who's a coin collector, mentioned how rare these 1994 D pennies could be. I thought he was joking at first, but after a little research, I realized I had missed a real opportunity to cash in on a small fortune. Now, I know it sounds crazy to think that a penny from 1994 could be worth millions, but that's the magic of coin collecting. It's all about knowing what you're looking for and having an eye for the rare stuff. And trust me, the market for rare pennies, especially those with errors, isn't slowing down. People are out there spending serious cash to get their hands on these coins, and it could be your lucky day if you happen to find one. It's not just about finding the coin, it's about finding the right coin. A 1994 D penny without any errors won't bring in much. It's the ones with the special characteristics that drive up the price. So, how do you know if your penny has that special touch? Well, you can check for things like misaligned dies, double dies, or other manufacturing errors that give the coin its unique look. And if you find one, don't just go sticking it in a jar with your other loose change. Make sure you preserve it in a way that keeps it in mint condition. Get it graded by a professional service, because that's how you'll know for sure whether your penny is worth the big bucks. Trust me, The last thing you want to do is accidentally scratch or damage a rare penny by handling it the wrong way. So, to wrap things up, here's the key takeaway. You could be sitting on a gold mine if you've got a 1994 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, and with the right conditions, that little coin could put $2.3 million in your pocket. I know, it sounds wild, but that's the crazy world of coin collecting for you. If you've got a bunch of pennies lying around, especially from 1994, take a minute to check them out. You might just be holding on to something worth more than you ever imagined. And if you don't want to miss out on more tips about coins worth money, strategies for spotting valuable finds, or just some good old-fashioned coin nerd talk, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. Trust me, you don't want to be the one who finds out too late that you could have sold your coins for a small fortune. Hey there, fellow coin hunters. Imagine digging through your old pocket change, and instead of finding a couple of cents, you discover a coin worth $2.4 million. Sounds like something out of a dream, right? Well, that's exactly what happened to me when I stumbled across the rare 1988 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Today, we're diving into why this penny is more than just a bit of change, it's a potential fortune. Coin collecting isn't just about the coins we recognize, it's about knowing what makes certain ones special. This little penny? It's hiding a massive surprise, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for. Stick around, because you might just find yourself richer than you think. But first, hit that subscribe button for more insider tips on coins that could be worth a lot more than you realize. Let's jump in. All right, so what's the deal with the 1988 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and why is it worth a staggering $2.4 million? Let's break it down. When most people think of pennies, they think of, well, pennies. A penny's a penny, right? Wrong. There's a lot more to this humble coin than meets the eye. Normally, pennies have a mint mark that tells you where they were made. For example, D means they were minted in Denver, and S means they came from San Francisco. But here's the kicker. Some 1988 pennies don't have any mint mark at all. These are what we call no mint mark pennies. Well, the story behind these pennies is where the magic happens. The 1988 no mint mark penny was supposed to be minted in Philadelphia, but somewhere along the line, the coins got out without the expected mint mark. Now, while this may sound like a small oversight, it actually makes these pennies extremely rare. And rare equals valuable in the world of coin collecting. The discovery, my personal eureka moment. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was going through some old change I had gathered over the years. I wasn't really expecting much. You know, a few quarters, maybe a nickel from the 90s that wasn't worth anything. But then, I picked up this one penny. It just felt different. It had a strange weight to it, and when I looked closely, I noticed there was no mint mark. At first, I thought I was losing my mind. I'd heard of the 1988 no mint mark penny, but surely I couldn't have one just sitting there in my pile of loose change, right? Well, after some research and a few YouTube rabbit holes, I found out that I wasn't crazy. I had found a rare coin that could be worth a fortune. It was like striking gold, except it was copper and zinc. But trust me, finding that penny was one of the most exciting moments of my life. Now, let's talk about why this penny is worth a whopping $2.4 million. The reason behind the value is twofold: rarity and demand. These coins were never meant to be released without a mint mark, so the few that slip through the cracks are incredibly scarce. In fact, many coin experts believe that there are less than a dozen 1988 no mint mark pennies in existence, and each one could be worth millions. The value isn't just because it's old or because it's rare. It's because of the demand among collectors who know that finding one of these pennies is like winning the coin collector's lottery. You can't just go to the bank and ask for one. You have to find it. And finding one? That's what makes it priceless. How to identify the 1988 no mint mark penny? So, how can you spot one of these bad boys in your own collection or pocket change? Well, first things first, check the date. It's got to be a 1988 penny. Next, flip it over and check the reverse side. You'll notice the absence of any mint mark. That's the key feature. Remember, it should look like a regular 1988 penny, except without the D or S that you'd normally see. And here's a little tip. If you come across a penny that seems too good to be true, it probably is, unless you're me. I was skeptical too when I found mine, but after having it authenticated, I realized that sometimes dreams really do come true. Now, let's say you find one of these rare pennies in your own collection. What should you do next? First, Don't just throw it in your jar of spare change or take it to the nearest Coinstar machine. These pennies are incredibly valuable, and if you're lucky enough to find one, it's best to get it professionally graded. Coin grading experts will evaluate its condition and assign it a grade, which can significantly affect its value. Coins in excellent condition can fetch even more than those in poorer condition. It's easy to think that rare coins are worth big bucks across the board, but there's a reason this penny stands out. Coins like this don't just come from a specific year, they come with a rich history of mistakes, and collectors are drawn to these types of oddities. It's like finding the missing piece to a puzzle. These little slip-ups in the minting process are often what make the most interesting pieces in any collection. So, there you have it. The 1988 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a goldmine hiding in plain sight. You might have one sitting in your drawer or buried at the bottom of your coin jar. And if you do, well, congratulations. But remember, this isn't just about luck. Understanding the history and rarity of coins can make you a smarter collector. Whether it's an unassuming penny or a $2.4 million treasure, knowing what to look for could be the key to your next big discovery. And hey, if you enjoyed hearing about this little penny's big story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you'll want to stay tuned for more tips on how to spot coins worth money and maybe even find your own jackpot. Hey folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever had one of those days where you find a penny on the sidewalk, pick it up, and just toss it in your pocket without thinking twice? Yeah, me too. But what if I told you that little piece of copper could be worth a whopping $2.7 million? That's right. We're talking about a single 1993 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Just one coin. Not gold. Not silver. A penny. And it's worth more than a beach house in Malibu. You heard me. Now before you go dumping your couch cushions all over the living room or flipping over every coin jar in the house, stick around. Because today, we're going deep into the story behind this jaw-dropping penny. Why it's so valuable, what makes it rare, and how you can spot one if it's hiding in plain sight. So grab a drink, sit back, and let's take a stroll down Penny Lane. And trust me, this isn't your average coin video. This one's got a little history, a little mystery, and a whole lot of money talk. The 1993 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Normally, a penny from 1993 isn't going to make anybody rich. You might find one in your change right now, and it'll still be worth just 1 cent. But there's a twist with this specific no-mint mark version. It's incredibly rare. I mean, rarer than a quiet toddler or a gas station bathroom with toilet paper. In 1993, pennies were struck mostly at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The ones from Denver got a little D under the date. The ones from Philadelphia usually had no mint mark at all, and that's totally normal, right? There's a small number of 1993 Lincoln pennies out there that are missing the mint mark, but they weren't supposed to be. Something went wrong during the minting process. The die used to stamp the coins had an issue. Experts believe that a die originally intended for another year or a different coin entirely might have been used during production. Basically, a mix-up at the mint. This coin is like the Bigfoot of pennies. Some swear they've seen it, others call it a myth. But collectors? They know it's real, and they'll pay millions to get their hands on one in top condition. Now I know what you're thinking. Millions for a penny? Really? Well, let me tell you, in the world of coin collecting, rarity plus demand equals serious dough. And this coin has both. To understand the value of this bad boy, we've got to talk about the grading system. Coin grading ranges from poor, which looks like it got chewed on by a lawnmower, all the way up to mint state, which means it looks brand new, like it just came out of the press yesterday. The 1993 no-mint mark penny that fetched $2.7 million was in near-perfect condition. No scratches, no wear, not even a smudge. Just crisp, clean coppery goodness. Collectors drool over these things like my uncle does over a rack of ribs. That's how bad they want it. A few years back, I was helping my grandpa clean out his garage. You know, dusty shelves, old tools, some weird stuff he swore was valuable but looked like junk. Anyway, we find this old Folgers coffee can, the classic red metal one, filled to the brim with coins. I'm thinking, cool, maybe we'll find a silver dollar or two. So we sit there, sorting coins for hours. Nickels, dimes, a couple of quarters, and loads of pennies. Well, spoiler alert, it wasn't. It was just a regular 1993 Philadelphia penny, worth 1 cent. But man, for a moment there, I felt like Indiana Jones discovering the Holy Grail. Ever since then, I've kept a special jar just for odd coins. My maybe money jar. And now, every time I get change at the gas station or grocery store, I take a second look. Because you never know. The die error, the condition, and the limited number of known examples all drive the price through the roof. But that's not the only factor. The collector market is wild right now. People are dropping serious cash on rare coins, and that demand is only growing. Younger collectors are getting into the game, older collectors are holding on to their treasures, and in between, you've got folks digging through jars of change like they're panning for gold. Check the condition. If it looks like it's been to war, it's probably not going to fetch millions. But if it's shiny, clean, and crisp, you could be holding something big. Also, consider getting it graded professionally. Companies like PCGS or NGC can evaluate your coin and give it an official grade. That's important because buyers want the real deal with the paperwork to back it up. Check error coin forums and auction sites like Heritage Auctions or eBay. You can see what similar coins have sold for and keep tabs on the market.o. And while we're talking tips, don't go cleaning your coins. I know it's tempting to polish them up, but serious collectors want them untouched. Cleaning a rare coin is like washing a Picasso with Windex. Just don't do it. Imagine finding a penny in your drawer that you forgot about years ago. You bring it in, get it graded, and boom, $2.7 million. You're mortgage-free. New truck in the driveway. You buy your spouse that beach vacation they've been talking about for a decade. And all because of a little copper coin you probably thought was worthless. That sometimes the most ordinary things can turn out to be extraordinary. That a penny, yeah, a single penny, could change your entire life. That the 1993 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is not just a coin, it's a legend. And that you should never underestimate the value of what's in your pocket. If you found this video helpful, fun, or even just a little bit entertaining, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Tap that little bell so you never miss out on more coin collecting secrets, tips, and crazy stories from the world of pocket change riches. Dollar coins to talk about, strategies to help you build your collection, and stories that'll make you want to check your change every time you buy a coffee. Leave me a comment below. Have you ever found a rare coin? Do you have a maybe money jar like I do? I'd love to hear your stories. Hey there, my fellow treasure hunters. Let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever reached into your pocket, pulled out some change, and thought, it's just a penny? Well, after today's video, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Because somewhere out there, hiding in plain sight, is a little copper coin from 1979 with a tiny D mint mark. And it's worth a jaw-dropping, heart-racing, absolutely bonkers $2.8 million. Now before you run off to flip your couch cushions or dig into your piggy bank, hang tight. I'm about to break down everything you need to know about the 1979 D Lincoln penny, how to spot the rare ones, and why in the world someone would fork over the price of a beachfront condo for a 1-cent coin. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around to the end. I got a personal story involving a gas station, a roll of pennies, and a near heart attack that might just convince you that treasure is hiding in plain sight. Let's set the scene. It's 1979. Disco is still a thing. Star Wars is blowing up box offices. And the Denver Mint is cranking out Lincoln pennies like there's no tomorrow. Mill. They were made of copper and zinc, and the design hadn't changed much since 1959. Good ol' Honest Abe on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Nothing flashy, nothing fancy, just your average penny. D pennies were struck with some wild errors. And those are the ones collectors are absolutely losing their minds over. Some of these pennies have double dies. That means the coin was stamped twice, slightly off-center, causing that crazy-looking doubling effect on the lettering or Lincoln's features. Imagine Lincoln looking like he's got a shadow self right behind him. Creepy? Maybe. Valuable? Oh yeah. Other rare 1979 D pennies have off-center strikes, die cracks, or even missing elements like part of the mint mark or details in Lincoln's coat. We're talking factory flaws, but in the world of coin collecting, those so-called flaws are pure gold. Well, it's a perfect storm. It's got an extremely rare die error. It's in almost perfect condition, what collectors call mint state, or MS. And it was verified by one of the top grading services in the world. Plus, it has that D mint mark, which means it came from the Denver Mint. When all those things line up, you've got a unicorn in your pocket. And yes, one of those unicorns sold at auction for $2.8 million. That's a lot of zeros for something that fits in your palm. Now, here's the funny part. Most people wouldn't even notice this penny. You might get it as change at the gas station, toss it in your car's cup holder, or donate it to one of those leave a penny, take a penny trays. Meanwhile, someone else might walk by, spot it, and retire early. A few years ago, I was on a road trip. Nothing fancy, just me, my old pickup, and a cooler full of questionable sandwiches. I stop at this little gas station in the middle of nowhere. I pay with cash, and the guy gives me a few pennies and change. One of them looked weird, kind of shiny, kind of off-center. I stared at it for a second. Then, like a genius, I left it in the tip jar for the next customer. Fast forward a year. I'm scrolling online and I see an article about a rare 1979 D penny with a die crack and a double strike. The photo looked familiar. Real familiar. Like, same shimmer, same off-center vibe. My stomach dropped. To this day, I don't know for sure. But let me tell you, every time I see a penny, I give it a long, suspicious look. And if I ever see that gas station clerk again, I'm gonna ask if he's driving a Lamborghini. First, check the date and mint mark. You're looking for 1979 with a little D underneath the year. That D means it was minted in Denver. Second, inspect it under good light or with a magnifying glass. Look for doubling in the letters, weird spacing, or anything that looks just a little off. If Lincoln's face looks like he's doing a magic trick and appearing twice, you might have something. Third, if it looks promising, don't clean it. Seriously, cleaning a rare coin is like washing an old baseball card in the dishwasher. Just don't. Keep it safe, put it in a holder, and get it graded by a professional. And finally, don't get discouraged if you don't find $1 million penny right away. Coin hunting is part luck, part patience, and part being the kind of person who gets excited over loose change. And hey, that's my kind of people. So the next time you hear someone say, "It's just a penny," you look him dead in the eye and say, "Tell that to the guy who made $2.8 million from a 1979 D Lincoln." Seriously, check your change, dig through those jars, raid your junk drawers. You never know what kind of treasure is hiding right under your nose. And if you had a good time hanging out today, learning something new, and laughing at my penny regrets, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm here every week with tips, tricks, and stories to help you find coins worth real money. We're talking quarters, dimes, nickels, and yep, even more pennies. Drop a comment if you've got any cool coin finds, or if you're still kicking yourself like I am over the one that got away. Let's build a community of coin lovers, treasure hunters, and folks who know that sometimes the smallest things are worth the biggest bucks. All right, folks, let me hit you with something that's going to blow your mind and maybe make you flip over your couch cushions right after this video. Imagine finding a penny. Yeah, a single, ordinary, copper-colored Lincoln penny that's worth more than a Lamborghini, a beach house, and a lifetime supply of tacos. Now imagine it's from 1988, and it doesn't even have a mint mark. No letter under the date. Looks boring, right? Wrong. Because that little coin could be worth up to $2.9 million. Yeah, you heard that right. We're talking about the legendary 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny. So if you've got a change jar that's been collecting dust for the last decade, you might want to stick around. You could be sitting on a gold mine. Well, copper and zinc technically, but you get the point. Today, we're diving into what makes this penny so valuable, how to spot one, why collectors are going nuts for it, and I'll even share a personal story that's got a little bit of heartbreak, a little bit of hope, and a whole lot of pennies. So buckle up, grab your magnifying glass, and let's talk about turning pocket change into life change. All right, let's get into it. First off, what's the deal with the 1988 no mint mark penny? So in 1988, the Philadelphia Mint produced Lincoln cents without a mint mark. Totally normal. Philly's been doing that for ages. But here's where it gets spicy. Some of those 1988 pennies were struck with a reverse design that actually belongs to a 1989 penny. That's right, a little minting mishap that flew under the radar for years. And collectors? They are obsessed with this kind of stuff. This error is called the 1988 reverse of 1989 variety. It's a transitional design error. Basically, the mint updated the reverse dies for 1989, but somehow a few of those 1989 style reverse dies made their way into the 1988 production. Oops. And that oops is now worth a fortune. So how do you know if your 1988 penny is the one? Here's the key. Look closely at the letters FG near the Lincoln Memorial. That stands for Frank Gasparo, the guy who designed the reverse. In the standard 1988 penny, the initials are spaced further apart and a bit chunkier. But on the 1989 reverse, they're thinner and closer together. If your 1988 penny has those closer, sleeker FG initials, you might just be looking at a $2.9 million treasure. Now listen, before you start flipping coins like a magician at a birthday party, let me tell you something from personal experience. A couple years ago, I was helping my dad clean out his old shed. I found a Walkman, a mullet wig, and a box of coins he swore he'd get around to sorting in the 90s. So, me being the coin nerd I am, I started going through them. Lots of wheat pennies, a few buffalo nickels, and, you guessed it, a 1988 penny with no mint mark. Now I didn't know about the reverse of 89 back then. I looked at it, thought it cool, and tossed it in a jar with the rest. Fast forward a few months, I see a video like this one we're doing now, talking about the 1988 error penny, and I nearly swallowed my gum. I rushed to the jar like it owed me money. And guess what? It wasn't the rare one. Just a regular OL penny. But man, for about 30 seconds, I was rich. So yeah, I didn't strike gold, but now I check every 1988 penny I see. You better believe I go through my change like a detective on a crime show. More info and market value. Now let's talk numbers. These 1988 reverse of 89 pennies don't just go for a few $100. In pristine, mint state condition, especially ones graded by a service like PCGS or NGC, we're talking up to $2.9 million. That's retirement money. That's buy your mama house money. That's I'm quitting my job and collecting coins full-time money. Even lower grade versions can fetch thousands. So this isn't just about the top dollar ones. You might have a slightly worn one that's still worth a lot more than a penny. So what should you do if you think you have one? Step 1. Get a magnifier. You can grab one cheap online. Step 2. Check those FG initials like we talked about. Step 3. If it looks promising, send it to a professional coin grading service. Yeah, it'll cost a little, but if your penny's the real deal, it's more than worth it. And please, don't try to clean it. That's the #1 rookie mistake. Cleaning a coin can ruin its value faster than a toddler with a crayon on a Picasso. Conclusion. So there you have it. The humble little 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny that could change your life. It's not flashy. It's not rare because of precious metals. It's rare because someone at the mint had a Monday moment and used the wrong die. It's these little slip-ups that make coin collecting so exciting. You never know what's out there, in your pocket, your drawer, or hiding in that giant coffee can you've been throwing pennies into since college. Before you toss your change into the tip jar or Coinstar machine, take a second. That penny might just be worth millions. Now, if you enjoyed this little treasure hunt and want more stories, tips, and strategies for spotting valuable coins, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more coming, coins worth big bucks, collecting secrets, and maybe even a few more tales of coins I almost cashed in on. And hey, if you've got a coin story of your own, drop it in the comments. I love reading them. And who knows, maybe your story will be in the next video. Until then, keep hunting, keep flipping, and never underestimate a penny. Catch you next time. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important. Hey folks, grab a chair, maybe even a magnifying glass, because today we're diving deep into something that might just blow your mind and possibly your coin jar too. You ever pick up a penny off the ground and think, meh, it's just 1 cent? Well, what if I told you there's a specific penny out there, a 1987 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, that's worth a jaw-dropping $3 million? Yeah, you heard me right. One red coppery coin, the same kind that gets stuck between your car seats, could change your life forever. Now before you start tearing through your couch cushions like a raccoon in a dumpster, let's slow it down and talk about why this little fella is worth more than most people's houses. And don't worry, I've got a story to share, a whole lot of laughs, and some tips that might just make you the next coin millionaire. So stick around, because you might be sitting on a gold mine disguised as a 1-cent piece. Let's start with the basics. The 1987 Abraham Lincoln penny. Nothing fancy at first glance, right? Looks just like the billions of others minted that year. But here's the catch. There are a handful of these bad boys with no mint mark that are blowing up in the coin collecting world. Now, quick refresher. Mint marks are those little letters you see under the year on most coins. A P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco. But once in a while, due to some minting mishap or production quirk, a batch of coins skips the mint mark altogether. And that's when collectors go bananas. So why is this 1987 penny without a mint mark so special? For one, it's extremely rare. Most of the 1987 pennies were minted with the usual identifiers. But a small, and I mean microscopic, number slipped through the cracks, minted in Philadelphia, but missing the P. Over time, the collector market caught wind, and this coin turned from a copper nobody to a high-rolling rock star of the numismatic scene. A verified, well-preserved 1987 no-mint mark penny just sold in a private auction for $3 million. Not joking. That's enough to buy a mansion, a Tesla, and still have enough left over for a lifetime supply of tacos. And maybe even a custom coin vault, because why not? Picture this. A couple of years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. You know, one of those all-day adventures where you find everything except what you're looking for. We found an old Folgers coffee can stuffed with coins. Like the kind you forget about for 20 years until someone needs a screwdriver and ends up on a treasure hunt. He was about to take the whole thing to the bank. You know, one of those coin machines that eats up your change and spits out a receipt with half the value. But I said, hold up, let me take a look first. He rolled his eyes, but hey, I'm the family coin nerd. I dumped the whole thing on the floor like a kid on Christmas morning, and there it was, a shiny 1987 penny with no mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. I stared at it like it was glowing. Turns out, it wasn't the $1 million version. Mine had a small scratch and wasn't in great condition. But that moment made me realize just how important it is to check your change. That penny ended up being worth around $100. Not bad for something most folks would toss in a fountain and make a wish on. First, condition is key. You need one that's never been circulated, no scratches, dents, or signs of wear. Mint condition, baby. That's what collectors are paying big money for. Second, it's gotta be authenticated. That means sending it off to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These folks will give it a proper grade and verify it's the real deal. Without that, you might as well be selling a rusty bottle cap. Third, rarity and demand. The 1987 no-mint mark penny checks both those boxes. Only a handful exist, and collectors are on the hunt like bloodhounds with a scent. When that kind of demand meets extreme rarity, the price shoots through the roof. Now let's talk strategy. If you want to be in the coin game, it's not just about luck. It's about knowledge and consistency. Start by checking your pocket change. Sounds simple, but that's how people are finding these gems. I mean, how many times have you had a pocket full of coins and never even looked at the dates? Next, hit up local flea markets, estate sales, or garage sales. I can't tell you how many people are selling off coin collections without knowing what they have. Just last summer, I picked up a whole binder of pennies at a yard sale for $10. One of them turned out to be worth $200. Not too shabby for a hot Saturday morning and a lukewarm lemonade. Also, keep a magnifying glass handy. I'm serious. You don't need to look like Sherlock Holmes, but being able to spot tiny details like doubling, missing mint marks, or other anomalies can make all the difference. And don't forget to have fun with it. Coin collecting isn't just about money, although let's be honest, that part is awesome. It's about history, mystery, and the thrill of the hunt. Every coin tells a story. And if you're lucky, that story might come with a seven-figure ending. So next time you see a penny on the ground, don't just walk by. Pick it up. Flip it over. Check the date. You never know. That 1 cent could be worth $3 million. The 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is living proof that hidden treasures are all around us. And with a little knowledge, a sharp eye, and maybe a dash of luck, you could be the next person cashing in on a once-in-a-lifetime find. Before you go diving headfirst into your coin jar or raiding grandma's change purse, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got loads more coin tips, market insights, and money-making strategies coming your way. Plus, you'll get stories, laughs, and maybe even a few more million-dollar coin leads. So subscribe, hit the bell, and stick with me, because the next coin we talk about might just be sitting in your pocket right now. Hey there, coin hunters and pocket change detectives. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, just 1 cent? Well, hold on to your hats because today we're talking about a little copper coin that might just blow your mind and maybe your retirement plan wide open. I'm talking about the 1991 D Lincoln penny. Yeah, that one with the D mint mark. It's a coin most of us have probably spent on a gumball, dropped in the couch, or ignored at the bottom of a jar. But what if I told you one of these little guys is worth a jaw-dropping $3.1 million? No, I'm not kidding. This isn't some clickbait headline. There's a 1991 D Lincoln penny out there that's literally worth more than most people's houses. So, if you've got a jar of coins sitting at home or some change in your car, you better stay tuned. We're diving deep into why this penny is worth a fortune, what to look for, and how you can avoid spending $1 million coin on a pack of gum. But before we get into the serious stuff, let me tell you a little story that still keeps me up at night. So picture this. It's the summer of 2007. Gas was around $3 a gallon. I was rocking cargo shorts like they were going out of style. Spoiler alert, they were. And I was on a cleaning spree before moving out of my college apartment. I found an old shoebox full of random stuff. Receipts, guitar picks, expired coupons, and a whole mess of loose change. Like any broke college guy, I tossed it all into one of those giant Coinstar machines to get a few bucks for tacos. Fast forward to 2023, and I'm reading a coin collector's blog in BM. I see an article titled, "The 1991 D Penny Worth Millions." My jaw hit the floor. I remember dumping at least 5 or 6 1991 pennies into that machine. Could one of them have been the one? Maybe. Maybe not. But I'll never know. And that, my friends, is what we call a $1,000,000 mistake. First of all, the D stands for the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint produced over 4.6 billion Lincoln pennies in 1991. Yeah, billion with a B. So most 1991 D pennies? They're worth face value. Maybe 2 cents if you squint hard. But one rare error coin snuck through the cracks and turned an ordinary penny into a collectible masterpiece. D penny was struck on a bronze planchet instead of the standard copper-plated zinc planchet. That's right. By 1991, the U.S. Mint had long switched to zinc cores for pennies. Bronze coins hadn't been used since the early 80s. But somehow, one of those older bronze planchets ended up in the Denver Mint's machines. So now you've got a modern coin made with old-school materials. Combine that with an excellent condition, almost perfect mint state, and BM. You've got a unicorn in the world of coins. To the naked eye, it just looks like your average penny. But if you put it under the right light, weigh it properly, and maybe have it graded by professionals, you might find you're sitting on a fortune. D penny should weigh about 2.5 grams. That's the standard weight for the copper-plated zinc version. But the $1,000,000 baby? It weighs closer to 3.1 grams. That's the giveaway. The heavier bronze core tips off collectors and experts that it's a rare error coin. And let's talk condition. The $3.1 million coin was in near-perfect mint state, which means it looked like it just came off the press. No scratches, no dings, no pocket lint damage. Just one known to exist in this condition with this error, and collectors went wild. When it hit the auction block, it blew past everyone's expectations and sold for a jaw-dropping $3.1 million. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's cool, but what are the odds I have one? Well, I won't lie to you if they're low, but they're not zero. People find rare coins in the wild more often than you'd think. The trick is to know what you're looking for and to actually look. That's the key. I've heard stories of folks finding valuable coins in parking lots, drive-thrus, even in tip jars at the local diner. So if you're tossing your change in a bucket without a second glance, you might be doing yourself a huge disservice. D penny, and check the color. If it's got a deeper, reddish tone and doesn't look like your typical 90s zinc penny, it might be worth a closer look. Consider getting it appraised. If it checks all those boxes, you could be holding on to a life-changing coin. And don't just look at pennies. There are rare nickels, dimes, quarters, even modern coins from the last 20 years that are worth serious cash. Coin collecting isn't just for guys in dusty basements with magnifying glasses. It's a treasure hunt you can do in your car, in your kitchen, or heck, even while you're waiting in line at the drive-thru. That plain old 1991 D Lincoln penny in your change jar might not be so plain after all. It might be your ticket to an early retirement, a dream vacation, or paying off that mortgage you've been chipping away at since the Bush administration. Don't let that change sit around gathering dust. Sort through it. Weigh it. Look for the rare ones. And most importantly, learn what to look for so you never accidentally spend a $3.1 million penny like I probably did back in 2007. If this kind of treasure hunt gets your heart racing like mine, then hit that subscribe button right now. Join the coin crew. I drop videos every week showing you how to spot the rarest, most valuable coins floating around in everyday life. You don't need a fancy setup or a big budget, just a little curiosity, some patience, and maybe a magnifying glass if your eyes are like mine after 40. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters and pocket change warriors. What if I told you that hiding in your spare change, nestled between a crumpled receipt and a piece of lint, there could be a penny worth $3.2 million? Yeah, you heard that right. $3.2 million. For a single, humble Abraham Lincoln penny. And no, this isn't a setup for a joke or a clickbait trap. This is real. Now I know what you're thinking. Come on, it's just a 2017 penny with a little D on it. I've probably tossed 100 of those into the coin jar on my dresser. And that, my friend, might be the biggest financial mistake you never knew you made. So grab a drink, get comfy, and let's dive into the story of how a plain-looking copper-colored coin from Denver became a millionaire's dream. And how you just might have one sitting in your couch cushions. Body. All right, let's start from the top. The 2017 D. Lincoln Penny. It's not 100 years old. It's not made of gold or encrusted with diamonds. Heck, it's not even rare in the traditional sense. Over 4 billion of these things were minted. Yes, billion with a big fat B. So how did one end up being worth more than a Lamborghini, a house on the beach, and a lifetime supply of tacos combined? Well, it all comes down to one word. Error. Yup. The very thing we try to avoid in life is exactly what makes this penny so darn valuable. This particular 2017 D penny has a very special mint error that turned heads in the coin collecting world. And when I say error, I don't mean it accidentally called your mom instead of your boss. I mean something went wrong in the minting process that made this penny a true one-of-a-kind marvel. The error in question? A super crisp double die strike. We're talking about it doubling so obvious, even your half-blind uncle who squints at the TV can see it. On this coin, you can clearly see doubling on Lincoln's eye, his ear, and some of the lettering. That kind of visible doubling makes collectors go absolutely bonkers. Now, let me pause here and give you a quick personal story. About a year ago, I was digging through my spare change, like I always do because, hey, I live on the edge. And I found a 2017 D penny that looked a little off. The lettering looked a bit thicker than usual, Lincoln's ear looked like he was growing a second one, and I swear his eye had a weird shadow. I was excited. I thought I'd struck gold or copper, rather. So I ran to my old magnifying glass, which I hadn't used since I tried to burn ants as a kid, and gave it a closer look. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding. And then, I realized it was just a smudge. I'd been chewing a chocolate granola bar, and the poor penny got caught in the crossfire. But hey, that moment taught me something. Always check your coins. You never know. Back to the million-dollar marvel. This particular 2017 D penny with the double die was authenticated and graded by one of the top coin grading services. It got a super high grade, which means it's in near perfect condition. That's like finding a mint-condition classic car in your grandma's garage, with plastic still on the seats. A high grade on a coin with a major error? That's the coin collecting jackpot. That's why the value shot up to a jaw-dropping $3.2 million. And here's where it gets crazy. These coins are still out there. They weren't all pulled from circulation, which means you could find one in your change at the gas station or under the floor mat of your car. Now let's talk about the current coin market, because this is where things get spicy. Right now, rare coin prices are booming. Collectors are out in full force, and they're not just going after ancient Roman coins or Civil War tokens. Modern coins, coins you could have in your pocket right now, are commanding insane prices. People want these errors, these rare varieties, because they tell a story. And the story of the 2017 D. Lincoln Penny is a wild one. A common coin turned million-dollar celebrity, thanks to a factory oopsie. So what do you do now? First, don't panic. Breathe. You don't need a time machine or a metal detector. All you need is your eyes and maybe a cheap magnifying glass. Go through your change jar. Check the pennies. Look for the 2017 D mint mark. Give those Lincolns a good, long stare. If anything looks a little funky, extra lines, doubled features, weird spacing, set it aside. And if you think you've got something special, take it to a professional. There are grading services that can verify whether you've struck it rich or just found another chocolate-stained dud like I did. Conclusion. So there you have it. The 2017 D penny. A coin most people ignore. A coin most folks wouldn't bend down to pick up in a parking lot. And yet, one lucky error version of this little guy is worth $3.2 million. If that's not a reason to start looking at your change a little differently, I don't know what is. And listen, if you enjoy stories like this, if you want more tips on coin collecting strategies, or if you just like hearing about how regular folks find life-changing money in the most unexpected places, then do yourself a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notifications. We've got a lot more treasure hunting tips coming your way, because around here, we believe that every penny counts, especially the ones worth more than your house. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Hey there, coin hunters and curious minds, welcome back to the channel where your spare change could turn into serious change. Now let me hit you with this wild truth. There's a tiny copper coin out there from 2004 that's been causing quite the stir. Why? Because someone just Paid a $1 million for it. That's right, a penny worth more than a beachfront condo in Florida. Now you might be thinking, a 2004 penny? Are you kidding me? I got a whole jar full of those under my bed, and hey, I get it, I thought. The same thing once, until I found myself knee-deep in a pile of coins, squinting like a pirate searching for buried treasure. So in today's episode, we're diving headfirst into the mystery of the 2004 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. What makes it special? Why is someone out there dropping millions on it? And how can you tell if you've got one hiding in your pocket? Grab a snack, find a comfy chair, and maybe grab that dusty jar of coins too. You might be sitting on your retirement plan. BODY. Alright, so let's kick things off with the basics. The 2004 Lincoln penny is part of the Memorial reverse design. You know, the one with the little image of the Lincoln Memorial on the back that looks like something you'd sketch in 5th grade art class. Now, normally these coins were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The ones from Philadelphia typically have no mint mark. That's normal, and here's where it gets spicy. This 2004 no mint mark penny isn't just your average copper-coated zinc. What sets this one apart is an ultra-rare minting error combined with its pristine condition. We're talking about a coin that somehow dodged every nick, scratch, and fingerprint life could throw at it like it lived in a spa for coins. So, what's the error? Some of these rare 2004 pennies were double struck off center, or even featured die clashes or misalignments, and if that wasn't cool enough, they came out looking fresh as the day they were born. Now, let me tell you about my own personal penny panic attack. A couple years back, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. You know, the kind of garage where things go to disappear forever. We found this ancient coffee tin labeled coins and dust, and man, we weren't disappointed. There were wheat pennies, buffalo nickels, and a bunch of sticky 80s quarters, but right there at the bottom was a shiny 2004 penny. I thought I hit the jackpot. My hands were shaking. I looked at it under a magnifier and saw no mint mark, just like the $1 million one I read about online. But guess what? It had a nasty scratch across Lincoln's face, like he got into a bar fight with a vending machine. That little blemish dropped the value faster than my hopes on Monday morning. So, lesson learned, folks. Condition is everything, even the right penny, in bad shape is just that, a penny. Back to the valuable one, though. The particular 2004 penny that went for $3.3 million was in what collectors call MS-70 condition, mint state perfect. That means not even a sneeze has landed on it. And that's not all. This rare beauty also had an error that made it one of a kind. Picture this: a clean copper canvas with a bold visible doubling on Lincoln's face and letters. It's like the coin wanted to make sure it left a lasting impression. Literally. Let's talk about the collector who shelled out millions for it. He wasn't just some random rich guy tossing money around. He was a serious numismatist. That's a fancy word for coin geek like us. Been chasing this exact variety for over a decade. He saw it come up at auction and boom, pulled the trigger faster than a kid spending allowance money on candy. So how do you know if your 2004 penny is the money maker? First, grab a magnifying glass, or even better, a jeweler's loupe. Check for these things. No mint mark under the year. That's expected, but look closer for doubling, especially on Lincoln's face or the lettering. Then inspect the coin's condition. Any scratches, dents, or signs of wear and tear will kill its value faster than a dropped phone on concrete. You also want to weigh it. If it's made of copper, it should weigh around 3.1 grams. If it's zinc, it's closer to 2.5 grams. Some of the most valuable ones were transitional errors struck on the wrong metal planchet. These things happen at the mint more often than you'd think. It's like their version of a whoops. Now, you might be wondering, who decides these prices anyway? Well, it's a combination of rarity, demand, and what collectors are willing to pay. Think of it like baseball cards with historical weight and the potential to confuse vending machines. Some rare coins skyrocket in value just because someone big in the hobby says, hey, that one's special. Then the next thing you know, it's sitting in a vault under laser protection with a value equal to 3 Teslas and a golden retriever. And if you're sitting there thinking, ain't no way I'll ever find a penny worth millions, remember, people have struck gold in the strangest places. One guy found a rare coin at a laundromat, another in the pocket of a thrift store blazer. So don't count yourself out. In fact, one of our viewers actually messaged me last year saying they watched one of these videos, ran to check their change jar, and found a rare penny worth $12,000. That's more than most used cars on Craigslist. So here's your homework tonight. Dig through your drawers, jars, glove compartments, and coat pockets. Look especially for 2004 pennies with no mint mark, clear, doubling, a nice clean surface, and maybe even a wild error. Take it to a local coin dealer or send it off to get graded. You never know what you've got until someone with a microscope and a flashlight tells you. All right, folks, we've reached the end of today's treasure hunt. We've laughed, we've learned, and hopefully I've convinced you to take your pocket change a little more seriously. Who knew that a single 2004 no mint mark penny could be worth more than a Ferrari? It just goes to show you that in the world of coins, small things can bring in big bucks. If you enjoyed this video and you're now eyeing every penny with suspicion, hit that like button and share this with a friend who still thinks coins are just for gumball machines. And if you want more tips, tricks, and crazy stories about coins worth money plus strategies to boost your collection, without breaking the bank, be sure to subscribe to the channel, join our community of collectors, history nerds, and folks who just love making money out of spare change. Hey folks, let me ask you something real quick. When was the last time you actually looked at your pennies before tossing them into that change jar or the bottom of your car's cup holder? Yeah, I'm talking about those beat-up old copper-colored coins we usually ignore. Well, what if I told you there's one specific penny out there, a 1987 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, that could be worth a jaw-dropping $3.4 million? Yes, you heard that right. Not $3, not 3,000, but $3.4 million. Now, before you start flipping your couch cushions or digging through your sock drawer, hang tight. I'm about to break down everything you need to know about this little copper gem that's got collectors going absolutely nuts. And trust me, you don't want to miss this, because the next time you get change at the gas station, you might just walk away a millionaire. So, the D stands for the Denver Mint. That's where this little guy was struck. And let me tell you, they made a lot of pennies that year. Over 4 billion of them. Yeah, with a B. So what makes one of them worth $3.4 million? But not just any error. This one's a unicorn. Picture this, a perfectly struck 1987 D. Lincoln penny, but instead of the normal zinc core with a thin copper coating, this bad boy was accidentally struck on a full copper planchet. That's the blank coin piece before the design is stamped in. See, by 1982 the US Mint had officially switched from solid copper to copper-plated zinc to save money. But somehow, a leftover copper planchet from before 1982 snuck into the Denver Mint in 1987. Now we have this magical mishap, a hybrid of two coin eras, and collectors are willing to cough up millions for it. Great question. First, grab a magnet. These coins aren't magnetic, but hey, it's a fun party trick. More importantly, weigh it. A normal 1987 D penny made of copper-plated zinc weighs about 2.5 grams. But the rare full copper version weighs around 3.11 grams. That tiny difference is like the golden ticket in your Willy Wonka bar. Next up, look for a super sharp strike and strong detail. The valuable ones are usually in almost perfect condition, not all beat up from years in pockets and vending machines. A couple years ago, I was at a flea market. The kind where you can find everything from rusty tools to grandma's old Elvis records. I struck up a conversation with a guy selling jars of old coins. I asked him if he had anything from 1987. He laughs and says, "You mean like this?" And pulls out a whole jar labeled 1980s pennies, $2 for the lot. I nearly tripped over my own shoes. I bought the whole thing faster than you can say cha-ching. Took it home, weighed every single penny. Most were your standard zinc variety. But one of them, oh man, it looked different. Heavier. Shinier. I nearly passed out. I sent it in to be graded, heart pounding like I just won the lottery. Turns out it wasn't the one. Just a well-preserved copper-plated penny. But let me tell you, that rush? Worth every second. Why is someone willing to pay $3.4 million for a coin you could have gotten in your lunch change back in the day? It comes down to rarity, condition, and demand. This specific error is so scarce, it's believed only one or two might even exist. Add in a flawless condition and a high grade from a top grading company, and you've got yourself a collector's dream. The kind of coin that makes seasoned pros get goosebumps. There's also historical value here. It's a 1 in a billion mistake. Imagine owning a coin that wasn't supposed to exist, a little time-traveling mishap from the mint itself. That's what makes this stuff so cool. And the best part? It could be hiding in your house, your car, your pocket right now. First thing you do is don't clean it. Seriously. Scrubbing it with toothpaste or a Brillo pad will drop its value faster than a bad crypto investment. Take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine it, certify its authenticity, and give it a grade. Higher the grade, higher the payday. If it's the real deal, you better believe auction houses will come calling. We're talking high-end bidders, museum collectors, and even big-shot investors who want to park their money somewhere shinier than the stock market. Don't sleep on your spare change. That 1987 D penny you've had rolling around in your glove box might just be the key to early retirement, a beach house in Florida, or that classic muscle car you've been dreaming about since high school. Remember, coin collecting isn't just for old guys in basements with magnifying glasses. It's a real-deal hobby that's creating millionaires out of everyday folks. You just need to know what to look for. And if you're curious about other hidden treasures in your pocket change, you're in the right place. Smash that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and hit the bell so you never miss a coin that could change your life. Drop a comment below if you've got a 1987 D penny or found something cool in your change lately. I love hearing your stories. All right, let me ask you something. What if I told you that one of the most ordinary-looking pennies sitting in your junk drawer could actually be worth a jaw-dropping $3.5 million? Yeah, I know what you're thinking. This guy's had too much coffee. But I'm serious. We're talking about a 1967 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Now before you start tearing apart the couch cushions or flipping your piggy bank upside down like a maniac, hang tight. This video is going to walk you through why this little coin is turning heads in the coin collecting world, what makes it so valuable, and how you can tell if you're sitting on a tiny copper gold mine. And stick around, because I've got a wild personal story that might just convince you to check every penny a little closer from now on. All right, so here's the deal. The 1967 Lincoln penny. Most people just assume it's your average, run-of-the-mill coin. And to be fair, most of them are. Billions were made. But there's a rare variant out there that collectors would basically sell their grandma's couch for. Let's start with this. No mint mark. You see, back in 1967, the U.S. Mint actually intentionally left off mint marks as part of a coin simplification policy. They were trying to reduce coin hoarding. Ironically, it ended up making some coins way more valuable because certain ones ended up with minting errors. So if your 1967 penny doesn't have a mint mark, that's actually totally normal. But there's a twist. A very small number of these coins came off the presses with strange features. We're talking double dies, off-center strikes, and even some with experimental compositions or planchet issues. So what's the deal with the one worth $3.5 million? It's got a perfect storm of rare features. First, it was struck on a bronze planchet with a die that had doubled features. Think doubled letters in the motto and date. Second, it was struck with such precision and clarity that it earned a nearly flawless grading from experts. There are maybe 2 or 3 known to exist in that exact condition. And when you've got that kind of rarity and demand, boom, $3.5 million. How to identify a valuable 1967 penny now? I know what you're thinking. How do I know if I've got one? Check Lincoln's beard and the date. If they look doubled or have a shadowed look, that's a clue. If your penny looks like it just came out of the mint vending machine and hasn't touched a pocket since, that's good. A few rare ones were struck on the wrong metal planchet. A standard 1967 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. Anything off that? Start getting excited. Copper pennies can change color with age, but some of these rare ones have a unique reddish tone that grabs expert attention. Now, if you think you've found something special, don't go straight to eBay. You gotta get that thing graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. A verified grade and authentication can literally mean the difference between a 5-cent find and a multi-million-dollar miracle. A couple years ago, I was at this local flea market, mainly just looking for old tools, maybe a cool belt buckle. This guy had a plastic tub full of coins he was selling 5 for $1. I figured, hey, why not? Good way to kill time. I start digging, and I find this 1967 penny that looked way too clean for its age. Sharp beard, crisp date, no mint mark. I figured I'd do the responsible thing and trade him $1 for 5 coins and a hot tip. I sent it off to get graded on a whim. Turns out, it wasn't the jackpot one, but it was worth about $300. Not a bad flip for 20 cents and a Saturday morning. Now you better believe I don't walk past a coin bucket without a second look anymore. My wife says I spend more time inspecting pennies than I do picking movies on Netflix. She's not wrong. Coin collectors are a passionate bunch. And when there's only a couple of something, prices go wild. The 1960s were a transitional time for U.S. coinage. Any anomaly from this era gets extra attention. I hate to say it, but where there's gold, there's always glitter. Scammers love to mess with coins. Don't trust cleaned coins or ones being sold with vague descriptions. If it sounds too good to be true and it's coming from a sketchy seller, it probably is. Buyers beware, but also, hunters get excited. Because if you find the real deal, it could change your life. So there you have it. The humble 1967 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Most are just worth a cent, but a few rare versions out there are worth millions. And the wild thing? One of those could be sitting in your change jar right now, that it's just waiting for someone curious enough to give it a closer look. Maybe that's you. Maybe it's your kid. Or maybe it's your dog chewing on that penny in the couch cushion. Either way, the next time you come across one, take a second before tossing it in the tip jar. And hey, if you're into finding treasure in the most unexpected places, then you're in the right spot. Hit that subscribe button. Smash it like it owes you lunch money. Turn on the bell so you never miss another coin tip that might just make you a millionaire. And drop a comment. What's the weirdest or oldest coin you've ever found? I read every one. I really do.